I'm Chief Heather Coogan, Littleton Police Department. I'm going to invite you today to come along with me and take a tour of the new police facility as we've both remodeled it and added to it. We're going to start off by showing you my office and then go around. We'll be seeing part of patrol, investigations, the Property and Evidence Bureau, and some other great highlights of things that we've added and things we're pretty darn proud of that we'd like you to see today. So let's start with my office. So here is my office. Take a look around. It's very similar to my office upstairs, just a little larger, but as you can see, I've got a conference table where I can now have people meet here in my office with me. And I'm located in patrol. One of the things that I felt very strongly about when we discussed building this new section and remodeling was that I would stay with the patrol division. That's the heart of a police department and where everything happens, and I wanted to be a part of that. So nothing that a police chief likes more than to know what's going on. So as we start the tour today, we're going to start at records. This is where you will come in if you come to the Littleton Police Department the first place. This counter here that we're taking a look at is a new officer reporting area. So the citizen can come in, sit here and meet with an officer and discuss whatever they might have. And that's both going to be during the day and after hours. So this is the records section. We'll have a second counter next to it where the records personnel during the day will actually wait on the public when they come in for something. We're now entering the patrol division. This is the main section back here, and I'm going to show you around in just a moment in these rooms what we're going to use this for. So here in the main room, this is going to have a large conference table that'll seat about 14. The officers will meet here and hold their roll calls around this briefing table. We have their offices for their supervisors here, lieutenants here on this side, division commander over here, and back here will be all of the sergeants. That way anything that's occurring, everybody is talking to each other and we can share that. As a robbery, whatever might be the roll call, the latest information. Also here on the walls, as you'll look around, you'll see some of these different plugs. There will be computer monitors that are hooked in and actually tell the officers what's going on with the CAD and what the calls holding are. We have crimereports.com where they can actually bring up the information and see what the latest crimes are in the precinct area that they're working. So it's pretty exciting. Everyone will be here together. We couldn't do this in the old section. We had a very tiny room here and the officers were not directly in contact with their supervisors. So that's something we've changed with this remodel. This right here is going to be a bar with a sink, microwave, and an ice machine. You wouldn't think too much of that, but when those officers are out there working in 100-degree temperatures in those cars, being able to get a glass of ice means a lot. We're standing in the holding cells right now. This is actually part of a phased approach that was taken to remodeling the police department and addressing some of our pretty serious issues, one of which was holding prisoners. As you can see, we've got holding cells here. Now, it's right next to my office, so I hear that there's a few bets about how long I'll be able to take the noise. Okay, coming in the back door of the police department, this is our new entrance here. We're kind of excited about this also because we added a melting system, ice melt, so we won't have any of the slip and falls we might have had in the past. And as you see, the big wide door here is so the officers can bring in the big bags that they carry. They carry a lot of equipment, and this gives them the room that they're able to get in those back doors. We're now in the property and evidence section. This is the processing table that we brought in. If you recall in the old police department, if you ever saw that, we worked off of a little counter that was about 2 foot by 4 foot long. We now have this large stainless steel table. Officers can work on both sides of the table, and as you can see here, we planned for all of the equipment that it takes to properly secure the property and evidence, so it'll be preserved for court. Everything's labeled in the right size. One of the things that we thought about as we worked through this was that we weren't just trying to address the problems of the police department, we wanted to address the future. So what you're going to see as we walk through here is a Property and Evidence Bureau that will serve us for 20 years to come. Lots of room. We also made some improvements here to the lockers and how we store the evidence. It's now a keyless system, so we don't have to worry about losing any kind of it. and we can just put it in here, whatever it might be. As you can see, all the lockers are different sizes. This locker is a big one, so you would put a large item in here. We also have some storage in the back when the items are too big to go into these lockers. After the officers bag and tag, put it here in the locker, they just close it up, push the button, and it's secure. And until the evidence techs come in the morning, no one else can touch this or get this. They can't get in. That's how we maintain our chain of custody. We're now in the back side of the crime lab. You can see here through the window, this is the back side of those lockers that I showed you. We're actually a working crime lab now, so I can't take you into this secure area. But this was part of the dream, to build the facilities. And as you can see, our crime lab techs will now have an area to actually process that evidence that has come in and store it for what is often a lifetime. In the back, we've moved everything into the Littleton Police Department now, all of the property and evidence that we have, and have accounted for everything. And we believe we have enough room to last another 20 or 30 years. This is one of the processing areas, and as you can see, this is a fuming hood. So it makes it safe to put something toxic in here and work with it, and the fumes are actually pulled out to the outside of the building. This was a safety issue in fixing the crime lab, in building this new section. We wanted to make sure that we were no longer working in what was an office building and that they were actually working in what has been built as a crime lab. So many of these areas are actually fumigated and the air escapes to the outside. We have negative air pressure in many of the equipment and in the different rooms. Pretty exciting stuff if you're a crime lab tech. Okay, we're in the property release section of the Property and Evidence Bureau. This is for the public. There's a door on the back where there's private entrance that the public can come in to get their property. We wanted to do that so that people weren't carrying their stuff through the police department and the city building. Could be a gun, could be a knife, any kind of found property. This way you can just pull up to the back door and a police officer will release your property to you. This is one of my favorite spots. We're in the back hallway off of the Property and Evidence section. This is a view of the park. The officers just love it. They come back here and look at it. And this summer, we'll see a lot of officers back here eating their lunch, taking a break, drinking one of those big Cokes with a lot of ice that we also love. And so we're pretty excited about it. It's a beautiful view. And this is one of the parks that we're most proud of here in Littleton. This office here is the Computer Crimes and Video. We never had an office where we could store computer crime equipment. As you can imagine, computer crime is very large, and we have to take into custody hard drives, full computers, laptops, all kinds of different equipment. Everything uses a computer today. This room is dedicated to just identifying that equipment and how it's been used in a crime. This is the volunteer office for the Citizens Alumni Group. It's actually one of my very favorites. This group has supported the Littleton Police Department for many, many years. They're a part of our Citizens Alumni Academy. They help us at all of our different events, participate in Western Welcome Week, a number of things. You've probably seen them. They actually have an office now, and when we plan this section, we plan to give them an office so that the volunteers through the Citizens Alumni Group could actually work with us and support our efforts every day. We are in the new training section. This is part of the remodeled. You're going to see how big this room really is. Once we used to have about 16 people working in here, as well as the whole administrative staff, the admins, secretaries who sat in the front were in this room. One of the things we felt so strongly about accomplishing was a real training room. The heart of police work is to be properly trained, and we now have that. Our dream here is to bring in top quality training that we can share with other police departments in the metro area. And this room's going to accomplish that. The room is dividable, so we can cover 2 different classes at the same time, as well as making the ceilings high enough so that when we worked with the batons and the different defensive equipment, we could actually do that. We used to have that problem that you couldn't get a baton up because you'd hit the ceiling. So this is the room that we designed to make it work for us. It also has all of the latest video equipment and computer outlets. They've been placed in the floors so we can hook up the laptops if we need to. There'll be video conferencing so we can share training, as well as screens and computer monitors on the walls. The locker rooms, pretty exciting thing for all of the officers, male and female alike. The rooms were too small before, the little teeny lockers, junior high lockers. Today, the new lockers will hold all of their equipment. It will allow them to store their bulletproof vests, their SWAT bags, all of their different equipment, and get ready. Officers are more excited about those locker rooms than just about anything. So when you see this room here, as we move back into it, you're going to be excited about it too. This is the Detective Bureau. We're in the new section now. Here we have the Victim Advocate's Office, a room for families and victims. And I'm going to show you the Major Crimes Room in just a moment here. Let's go on over here. We are in the Major Crimes Room. Pretty excited about this room. We've never had a place where we could bring together all of the police department minds working on an investigation to work through that investigation. Littleton's a very safe place, but when something happens, we want to bring the professionals to the table, and this is the room we can do it in. Here's some of the equipment that we have featured in this room. We've got video conferencing, a large monitor so we can hook in to any information, whether or not it's from the computer, or if we might have something going on a state or national level. We've also got some screens, and here on the wall, all of this is controlled, and we call it cop-proof. It just takes one button to turn it on. There are dry erase boards on 2 walls in the Major Crime Room. We did that on purpose because when we are working on a major crime, we need to list a lot of different information, whether it's victim names, suspect names, drawings of locations, a lot of information so that we can share that across the room. And in this room, because it's in a secure part of the police department, we can lock it down and no one else can see that. We also photograph everything that we put on the walls and keep that for court. This is the Detective Bureau. All of the detectives have private offices now. We thought that was so important. Before, they were working in little cubicles, and everything they said could be heard by everyone. A victim had no privacy, a suspect had no privacy, and they really couldn't do their work in the way that they should have. Now they've each got a private office with a computer and the equipment that they need to be truly effective in bringing safety to Littleton. We incorporated a number of energy-efficient items in the design of this building. So we have motion detector lights that sense when someone comes into the room and they come on, so we're not wasting that electricity in between. We've added skylights in the roof, and also the carpet is made with recycled fibers. So we tried to think of everything we could, ways that we could be more green as Littleton moves into being more green and sensitive to that, because we'll be in this building for many years to come. We're having an opening of our police department and our jail. Someone took it a little too literally. He came dressed for the occasion. Welcome. Welcome all to our family and friends, and welcome to the community who believed in us and made this happen. Welcome to the expansion and remodel grand opening of the Littleton Police Department.